I've seen a lot of people complaining that the Kfir C.10 is bad. Well, they're just completely wrong. I legit have a 2.8 KD in this thing. And today I'm going to teach you guys how to ball out with it. First things first, you need 3 minimum keybinds to help you with the derby air-to-air missiles it gets access to. First, you have to be able to actually lock your radar. Then to get that box around my cursor, also called HMS, you have to keybind within visual range combat and press the button twice. And finally, you do need to fire air-to-air missiles. After all that, you're going to have to decide which armament to bring. In a match, you could carry up to 4 air-to-air missiles, and to get the most out of it, I suggest taking 4 Derby Fox 3 missiles. When you load into a top-tier match with this aircraft, you have 2 options. You can either play BVR or you can go for close combat. And if you can tell with the gameplay that's used as the background footage in this video, the best way to play the Kfir C.10 is to use it in close combat situations. Specifically, you're going to be jousting enemy aircraft. Now, to joust in an aircraft, you're going to look for enemies that are flying in front of you, and they have to be kind of reckless. You're going to kind of look for enemies that are flying at a higher altitude than they should be. Then all you're going to have to do is just look at them with your HMS, hit lock, nose up, and fire. At low altitudes, I wouldn't fire the Derby missiles any longer than 15 kilometers. And at that distance, the missile's onboard radar will take over, so you don't have to hold the lock the entire time. You can just drop it immediately. And what helps is that your Derby air-to-air missiles have a high loft angle, which means they go above the enemy higher and then come back down on top of them, and they have 40 Gs of pull. This makes it the perfect missile to hit enemies head-on to you that are flying close to the ground. On the other hand, though, while you're pulling all this fun stuff off, you have to worry about the enemy jousting you back. So you have to be aware of your surroundings, looking around, making sure no one's firing any missiles at you. And for the most part, when you're going head on with enemies, you're going to use multipathing to save yourself. To correctly multipath, you're going to want to hit the deck at about 50 meters in altitude and kind of move left to right so the missile splash damage doesn't hit you. In general, when you're playing in this BR bracket where you can face Fox 3s, I suggest staying low to the ground anyways, just to protect yourself. At any time during your match when you see a good opportunity to enter a dogfight, you should totally do it. The Kfir C.10 can handle it. It has the G-pull needed. And so do the Derbies. The Derbies can also be used as a dogfighting missile if necessary. Now you're probably asking yourself, what do you do when you're out of missiles? Well, the answer is quite simple. All you have to do is boom and zoom. You're a Kfir, so you're quite quick and you have a pretty decent acceleration for this BR bracket. Just be careful because the 30mm DEFAs this thing gets access to for its cannons have an extremely hard learning curve. And since it doesn't have any cannon radar to help you with that, I really do suggest taking this into arcade or a custom and actually learning where to fire. Now there are some really important things you do have to keep in mind to play the Kfir C.10 correctly. The most obvious is the fact that you only have 4 missiles maximum. So you have to pick and choose your targets very wisely, otherwise you're going to be left in the middle of a firefight without any missiles. Number 2, you have to realize you are in a good aircraft, just not the best aircraft in this BR bracket. So you do have to pick and choose which battles you go into, and you do have to know when to ditch out of battles when you start losing them. And finally, just by watching this video, you're not going to become magically better. You do actually have to apply everything and practice it all. But I believe in you guys. This aircraft is actually awesome.